Hi folks, and at last it is time for a book review. Yes, here's Tilly to say hello. Excuse me, hogging the camera. My apologies for not getting this out in time for Halloween. For various reasons, my reading was rather slow. One of the reasons being a bad reaction to the COVID and flu jabs. But here it is, my review of Stephen King's Revival. I rather like this cover. I don't know if you can see that it's got a lightning strike down the centre that flashes in the when it catches the light. Are you going to sit there? So, Revival. So my title invited the question, is this Stephen King's scariest novel ever? I actually can't, in all honesty, answer that question because I haven't read very much Stephen King up until now. I think I read one of his children's books, from the Dark Tower series, which I really did love. That's a long time ago. But is it one of the scariest books I've ever read? In general, for the most part of this book, it's actually not scary at all. For the most part. Let me just go into a little bit about what this story is about. It starts off, the main character is a man called Jamie Morton. And it starts off when he is a child, and he actually narrates. It's told in first person, so he actually narrates the story, all from his point of view. It starts out when he is a child, living in New England. As a young boy, he's outside his house playing with some toy soldiers. A shadow falls over him. And it's a man who has come to be the new minister of their church, a man called Charles Jacobs. So the Reverend Jacobs and the young Jamie form a kind of friendship. And as it turns out, Charles Jacobs is very interested, almost you might say obsessed, with the power of electricity, but it's more than just the normal kind of electricity. As the book progresses, you will see that. But at the beginning of the novel, he is the minister. He is carrying out various experiments in his garage. And in one of these experiments, he helps to possibly heal Jamie's brother when he loses his voice in an accident. It's never really sure whether he has actually cured him or not. A terrible tragedy then happens, which causes the Reverend Jacobs to lose his faith. He does a sermon in the church, which is henceforth known as the Terrible Sermon, where he completely denies God, etc. And of course he loses his job and goes away. So that kind of starts off, it's the first few chapters of the book. And then we follow Jamie through adolescence and getting into music and being in a band and getting into drugs. And Charles Jacobs comes in and out of his life, and each time Charles Jacobs comes into his life, he has progressed further with his experiments in this, what he calls the secret electricity. It's something different to the kind of electricity we all know. And he is using it to heal people. What Jamie starts to find out is that the people he heals, including himself, or at least some of the people he heals, start to have strange side effects, disturbing side effects. But it's not overblown. This, the side effects seem to go away. It's not it doesn't sort of build up into horrible things, but this novel, as you go along, it does give you this sense of unease, particularly every time Jamie encounters Charles Jacobs. I'll say no more about the plot than that. As I said, for most part of the book, it's not that scary. It's slightly uneasy. But we get to see, we go through Jamie's life, his girlfriend, and what he does after his second encounter with Charles Jacobs. And the book takes him right through until he's approaching his 60s. So we get to see almost a whole of his lifetime, where he meets this chap from time to time, Charles Jacobs. And yet, despite the fact that nothing really scary happens for most of the book, it's incredibly readable. Stephen King has this way of talking about the daily life and mundane life that is completely entrancing. He's very clever. I think one of the ways he does that is he really talks about things that we all can relate to: music, cars, the time, just daily ups and downs of life, relationships, inner thoughts. So to actually, I was full of admiration, actually, that I was kept, although I was reading quite slowly. I was always very happy to get back to this book and see what would happen next, because you know something is going to happen. And each time you think something really bad is going to happen, it's like, oh, okay, it wasn't that bad. I don't think, and then you go on to the next bit, and then it feels a bit more uneasy. It's the last 2 chapters. I have a warning for you. Don't read the last 2 chapters before trying to go to sleep at night. Luckily, I read those chapters in broad daylight. The last, particularly the penultimate chapter, is very disturbing and shocking. So the way this novel is structured is so clever, because he really keeps you kind of guessing until right at the very end. And despite the fact that nothing hugely horrible happens during the most part of the book, there is this unease that keeps you reading. And there are enough very disturbing parts to make you realise that it's going to get worse at some point. So it's structured so well in that sense. He is such a good storyteller. And he has some comments to make about, what you might say, hardline religion and so-called religious healers. And it doesn't pull any punches either about life, the things that can go wrong in life as well, the dark side of life. So I can see, this being really my main introduction into Stephen King's adult fiction. I can see why he is such a good writer. And I think I might just be brave enough to read some more at some point. So there you go. Read it if you dare. Watch out for those last 2 chapters. Stephen King's Revival. And the next book I'm reading is rather different. I'm going to be reading a Penny Vincenzi book. I've just started it. It's A Question of Trust. And as usual with Penny Vincenzi, it's fairly chunky, so that might take me a while. I'll also put a link to another book review here for you, in case you want to see something else. For my next video, haven't quite made up my mind what to do next. Could be an A to Z author, might be something else, we'll see. So there we go, from Tilly and me. Good luck, America, with the election. And for more book lists and book reviews and other things bookish, please make sure you are subscribed, and I will see you again very soon. Bye for now.